Welcome to this presentation of an overview of GST in India. Let us first trace its history. The L.K. Jha report in 1978 had recommended implementation of value addition based tax system. The Chellaiah report of 91-92 and Bagchi report of 1994 were also in the same direction, which was followed up by Task Force on Direct and Indirect Taxes report of Vijay Kelkar in 2002. In the budget speech in 2006, it was announced that the target date of implementation of GST would be 2010. The Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers was formed to design the roadmap. The committee submitted its report to the government in April 2008 and released its first discussion paper on GST in India in 2009. The Constitution Amendment Bill introduced in Lok Sabha on 19 December 2014 was passed on 6 May 2015. The Rajya Sabha passed the bill on 3 August 2016 with amendments which were passed by Lok Sabha on 8 August 2016. After more than 50% of the states ratified the bill, the President of India accorded his assent on 8 September 2016. At present, there are multiple taxes in the country. Central government levies service tax on provision of service, customs duty on imports, excise duty on manufacture, central sales tax on interstate sale of goods. State governments levy sales tax or VAT on intra-state sale of goods, entertainment tax and luxury tax, entry tax on entry of goods in state, taxes on betting and gambling. Major problems of the present system are cascading effect of taxes. Tax paid on inputs is allowed to set off the tax on output in limited cases only. For example, credit of excise duty, CST, etc. are not allowed while paying VAT. Considerable litigation regarding type of transaction, as each government is levying taxes on the same transaction. For example, take the case of dining in an AC restaurant. Incentive for evading taxes is more, as input credit chain is not maintained. Compliance with different taxation laws with several authorities comes with a high cost. Tax arbitrage causes problems for free trade by erecting invisible barriers. To make local products cheaper, entry taxes are levied by states, thereby dampening the spirit of one nation. GST Council is formed with 2 representatives of the central government and 1 representative each of the states on 15 September 2016 by the President of India. For the smooth implementation of GST, the Council makes recommendations to the government for various important matters like taxes to be subsumed, rate of tax, special provision, etc. A special purpose vehicle called the GSTN has been set up to cater to the needs of GST on 28 March 2013. The GSTN shall provide a shared IT infrastructure and services to central and state governments, taxpayers, and other stakeholders for implementation of GST. Model GST laws consisting of CGST Act, SGST Act, and IGST Acts were placed in public domain on 14 June 2016 for public comments and reactions. There are 162 sections in CGST and SGST Acts in 25 chapters. There are 33 sections in IGST Act in 9 chapters. It may be noted that the legislature has delegated the powers to executive in 183 places in these sections. Benefits of GST. Ushering GST is expected to be a game changer and benefit the country in the following ways. Increased foreign direct investment. Growth of GDP, which is being conservatively estimated at 1%. Lesser incentive for evasion. Wider tax base will lead to shrinking of the parallel economy. Huge reduction in administration costs. Heightened accountability and rating of assessees. And transparency. In the following few minutes, we will briefly discuss some of the salient features of GST. Taxes subsumed. Most of the indirect taxes levied by the central government and state governments are being subsumed into GST. Both the states and the center will get a share of each other's pies. States will get their share of taxes for services. Center will get its share of tax on trading. States will get their share on the countervailing duty and special additional duty of customs, as these will be subsumed into IGST. Legal uniformity. Basic features of law such as chargeability, definitions of taxable event and taxable person, valuation provisions, basis of classification, etc. would be uniform across the country. The threshold limit is uniformly fixed at Rs 20 lakhs for all over India except Rs 10 lakhs for Northeast states and Sikkim. In many states, the exemption limit was 5 lakhs for VAT. The small traders in those states will be benefited. The excise duty exemption is reduced from 150 lakhs to the GST exemption of rupees 20 lakhs, which will impact many small manufacturers. The trader will be able to take credit for transactions done by him all over India. As on date, there is no credit for CST, and also most of the traders are not able to take credit of excise duty. One nation, three taxes. Under the model of concurrent dual GST, we have for intra-state transactions CGST or central GST and SGST or state GST, that is KGST in Karnataka or BGST in Bihar. And for interstate transactions and imports, we have IGST or integrated GST. Destination-based tax. GST is a destination-based consumption tax. Tax is charged on supply and not on manufacture or sale. The fact of sale, that is transfer of title in goods, is irrelevant. For existing service tax assessees, the change is marginal, but for the existing excise and VAT assessees, the change is phenomenal. For governments also, the change is radical. For example, the tax on a Pashmina shawl sold in Goa will be taken by the Goa government without any benefit to the government in Jammu and Kashmir. New concepts. Related person. For the purpose of valuation, the concept of related person has been introduced, which was not there in VAT laws. Supply without consideration. The concept of taxing transactions entered into without consideration has been introduced in the model GST law. Supply without invoice. Even if the supplier doesn't raise an invoice, he will be liable to pay tax with effect from the date on which the recipient shows the receipt of the goods in his books of accounts. Place of supply may not always be the location where the goods are delivered or the location of recipient of the services. Also, the place of supply for a transaction may be determined based on the registration status of the recipient. Thus, the business will have to scroll through all the place of supply provisions before determining the place of supply. Transition blues. All the existing assessees under the existing laws will get automatic registration under the new law. Further, the assessee will be able to claim credit of taxes paid for his stock on hand, credit of all the taxes, including excise duty and service tax, paid for buying the stock on hand will also be allowed to the trader. Multiple registrations. There is no concept of centralized registration. The assessee has to obtain separate registration for each state. The issue of concurrent jurisdiction of both central and state governments is being solved in the GST Council by making an arrangement of delegation of jurisdiction to each other. Out of purview. There are several exclusions, for example, fuel for now, liquor, stamp duty, vehicle tax, electricity duty, etc. Cascading effect of taxes cannot be eliminated unless the exclusions are brought down to the minimum. Reverse charge mechanism. Reverse charge mechanism will be operational for notified goods. Apart from adding to the compliance costs, RCM will also add to the cascading cost of those outputs which are not liable to GST. Credit of input tax. Denial of credits. There is a long negative list for denial of input credits proposed in the model GST. The denial of credits on motor vehicles, etc., largely based on existing laws drafted in the infancy of the country, will defeat the concept of seamless credit and add to the cascading effect of taxes. Matching of credits. GST is biased in favor of the revenue and looks at the assessee as potential evader. The seamless credit is allowed only provisionally. The credit is finalized after a rigorous matching process which matches the inward and outward details of each taxable person. The buyer has to ensure that the product bought by him is not only entered properly by the seller in his outward return, but also ensure that the seller has paid his taxes and filed his tax return before he can think of getting the final credit. Accumulation of credits. Refund of ITC is allowed only in some cases, like for exports, for input tax at higher rate than output tax, etc. Also, due to the fact that credit of CGST cannot be used to pay SGST and vice versa, accumulation of credits have to be avoided by proper tax planning. In view of the government's resolve to implement the new law at the earliest, the need of the day is to understand the impact of GST on the business, represent to the government to change the harsh and unrealistic provisions, gear up with the IT infrastructure, design strategies to minimize impact, maximize gains, and avail transitional credits, and prepare SOPs to meet the challenges. This has been a brief overview on GST. I have uploaded presentations on various topics in YouTube for those of you who want to know more about the subject in detail. GST is an evolving subject. Do subscribe to my channel to remain updated. Thank you for your time.